Well, this week, the Federal Reserve announced it's raising interest rates again. It's the third hike this year, and some analysts say at least one more is likely before year's end. Justin Halverson is the founder of Great Waters Financial. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Ellery.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. The approved interest rate increase was unanimous, 1/4 point to a range of 2 to 2.25%. And also the rate helps determine rates for mortgages, credit cards, and consumer borrowing, things like that. So was this hike expected?
Ellery, I think the rate hike was expected. I know Wall Street at the end of the day yesterday reacted, but today the markets are moving back in the right direction. And because the real rate of inflation is still at near zero, if we look at the Fed's expected inflation rate and the interest rate is still below that, I think this wasn't a surprise to too many people.
Yeah. So what does this tell us about the confidence in the U.S. economy?
Well, Fed Chairman Powell yesterday said that the economy is doing at least as well or maybe even better than expected, so that was part of the reason for the interest rate hike. And the other thing he said is that he feels that inflation is under control. And a real concern for a lot of people with all the printed money over the last decade or so is that inflation could come back onto the scene and cause us to pay a lot more for goods and services than we pay today. But they feel that they have a good handle on that, so that was one of the reasons they were able to raise the interest rates.
Okay, so what do we expect with this latest rate hike then?
If we look at the latest rate hike, like you said earlier, it's gone up just 1/4 point from 2 to 2.25 as the expected rate. Nothing really out of control from the normal expectations. And so, like I said, Wall Street has reacted a little bit, but overall I don't think there's going to be too great of an impact on the economy.
Yeah. So any debt that we have, it's just going to cost us more, right?
Yeah, there's a few points that we think are going to change. Number one, in general already, the rates of consumer debt are rising. We're at all-time highs right now of over $9,000 per household in credit card debt.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And if interest rates go up, it causes us to pay more interest on that debt, and it means the balances are going to keep rising. So a huge point that we would have as a financial advisor is to pay down that debt while you can. Don't push it up in the wrong direction. Pay it down. Get it under control now before rate hikes happen again.
Savings not keeping pace, right?
Yeah, real challenge. Since 2015, this Fed rate has gone up by 1.75%, but the rate of interest on bank savings accounts has only gone up 0.02%. And so we're paying more for interest on things, but we're not getting as much interest on our savings. So that's been a real challenge for consumers. I serve a lot of people that are in or near retirement who are looking for safety, and the interest rates on safe investments are very, very low. Although CDs and some fixed annuities have gone up in the right direction, so there may be some places for people to look today.
But there's also stock market volatility, but let's talk about the rising mortgage rates, though.
Yeah, the average mortgage rate right now is at about 4.5%, which is up from where it was a year ago, but it is still very low historically. Back in 1981, the average mortgage interest rate was about 19%. And ever since the Great Recession back in 2008, we've been below 6%. So 4.5 is certainly nothing to be too concerned about. You know, one thing we know is if interest rates on mortgages go too high, this housing boom may come to a screeching halt. So they're going to certainly watch out for that.
All right. Great information. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
this
you,
morning.
Ellery.
Yeah, so to review Justin's financial tips, head to KARE11.com after the show and click on the menu in the top left corner of the homepage, and you'll find us under the show.